Hello. If new, my name is Amy. Hi there. If returning, hi. Welcome back. I usually babble here, yes indeed, and we laugh together while watching silly animals. This round, I'm gonna touch on something very serious and difficult, so please take the content warning seriously, okay? I'm gonna let the things share like pieces of information and such that things that YouTube may not be okay with folks saying and whatnot, so feel free to pause and read that if need be. I've been struggling, and often one of the things that can help me is to, like, I know that I'm not the only one going through this, right? I know that I'm not the only one struggling. I begin to worry about others, which I don't want to make it sound like, I'm not giving myself or showing, not practicing self-care and taking care of my own mental health. It's just, I'm a caregiver, you know what I mean? It's what I do. I worry about others. So that's who I want to speak to right now. Like, there are billions of people in this world, right? And with a few exceptions, there's so many who are able to relate to us, right? Like, that's one of the great things about something like the internet. Like, yeah, there's a crappy side to it, but it also enables us to find our kindred souls all over the world, right? That's one of my favorite things about YouTube. We live here now, right? First and foremost, some of you really need to hear, and you need to know this. There's nothing wrong with being autistic. It may be really frustrating at times and can feel like, there's a target on your forehead or something, right? Like, for example, too many doctors and people make it seem like it's a type of sentence. You know the word I left out, because YouTube, but it starts with a D. But like, it's 2023, folks. We have so many options now, so many ways to communicate, so many options for any quality of life. And yet, we have parents, doctors, teachers, media, and society repeatedly telling us otherwise. How different it could be if people would simply listen to us. Instead of well, I think you're just shy, or you don't look autistic. You can meet my eyes. Yeah, because I'm conditioned to. For me, learning that I am AuDHD, I like to say autistic and I have ADHD, is how 2020 began. I was watching yet another video on YouTube, and it was mentioned how differently autism can present in AFABs, how we're often misdiagnosed throughout our lives. Personally, I feel like regardless of your gender, if you're diagnosed with attention deficit and BPD and etc., you should educate yourself on autism. Hollywood, media, and society, but especially medicine and science, have really dropped the ball on this. It isn't a boy brain situation. It's a human brain situation. And at the very least, you'll be able to know better. Like, who really strives to be ignorant, right? It's better to know. This isn't what too many of us have been led to believe our entire lives. Also, Autism Speaks is a hate group. I just want to get that out there. There's so much... There's so many people have done videos about it, especially Illuminati. I highly recommend checking that out. But with all of that said, what I'm really concerned about is the depression within it all. I've personally been dealing with it since before hitting the double digits, and it's always been an issue of, for me, personally, myself, of feeling like a burden. I'm only bringing my loved ones down with me, and I feel like a life wasted. Do you really think a child is born with those thoughts? I don't. So there's so much to experience. There's so many adventures to go on, but especially so much love to give, so much care. It isn't just like negative emotions that can be too much, be felt like too much. It's also positive emotions like love and joy. Sometimes I feel too much and it's like a pressure cooker, like, ooh, the steam. And yet we lack empathy, if you were to believe the media or abled society. Now, I'm so white and gothic pale that I'm translucent, but what do you think it's like the further into marginalization you get? Spoilers, it's so bad. It's so bad. I'm just gonna get myself all pissed off again. Our society and too many parents are horrifying. Like, what the hell, right? When looking over the numbers and the attempts at statistics, like, I feel like there are too many people not reporting to honestly get to see the reality of it all, right? Those are even more horrific. There's a series of videos, they did this series in the summer of 2020 at the Seattle Children's on their YouTube channel. It's about the transition into adulthood. And it's the particular video I'm referencing right now is Autistic Burnout and the Costs of Coping and Passing. And it's folks who actually are autistic working with Seattle Children's to try to help create resources for folks that are going through burnout, because the majority of the resources out there currently are for caregivers, for the parents, not for anyone who actually is autistic. And it's part of the frustration, right? Like, think about doctors. This is a point that they make in it. Think about doctors and nurses, folks whose career includes constantly having to mask your own humanity, right? I mean, to varying degrees, right? Depending on the person, because it's not about you, right? In that moment where you're having to talk with a person's families, it's not about you and how you feel about it and what their rates, I'm gonna word it as losing them, because ultimately that's what their loved ones are experiencing, that loss, right? And then the numbers and the rates and statistics of those who are actually known and diagnosed autistic. But what about those undiagnosed, misdiagnosed? How many within those rates are autistic kin, only diagnosed with depression or ADHD? How many are we losing? Because it's scary, the rates we're talking about. Please know that while we may not all know one another off the internet, right? We live in all these different places around the world, but you still have a support system in the community, okay? You're not alone. There are so many of us, so many who can relate to one another. Learning that I'm autistic was the first time I truly felt, I'm sorry. Learning that I'm autistic was the first time I truly felt validated in my 40 years of life. I'm still in my damn 40s, still trying to learn how to unmask. But thank goodness I watched that video. Thank you to everyone who speaks out about this, who puts their experiences out there. Because they're failing us, right? And we gotta help one another. Like, I know that I'm not the only one that's needed to unlearn all of this damage. So, if the struggle is real for you too, no matter where you are. Like, if I gotta rush to take my mom to the hospital, the ER in the middle of the night, I'm all alone, right? There's nobody else that I can rely on in that moment right here with me. I'm all by myself. But please know you still have us. The hashtag is actually autistic. There's so many people that are just waiting there for you to join in. Okay? Please know that. Please. We're not alone. Whew. I never ever planned on getting this emotional on this channel, and I mention it, you know, being autistic, you know, here and there, because I think it should become more common, right? I think people really need to know what it's really like, because this is just a joke, and it's a joke on our lives. So, fuck that. And I really do wish you the best. So until next time, and way beyond, please take care. I'm trying as well.